Pastor Kris here, back in the prayer room at South Shores Church. Our reading today is from Luke 23, 35 to 43. And the people stood by watching, but the rulers scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself. If he is the Christ of God, his chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine, and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was also an inscription over him, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who were hanged railed at him, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we are receiving the due reward of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." And he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." People die differently, some confidently, some fearfully, some joyfully, some angrily. Often people die as they lived. Jesus died as a friend of sinners, his style all along. Here we are witnessing deathbed or death on the cross experiences, the two thieves. One died saved, one lost. These first statements that Jesus spoke from the cross, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," and this second reading, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise," spoken to an obvious sinner who didn't live life worthy, is allowed to enter the kingdom of paradise by grace. These have significance in my personal testimony of learning true forgiveness and long-suffering with sinful man. These foxhole-type confessions irk religious people who are based on works. I was one of those until God led me on a lengthy, painful, joyful journey. By answering my prayers for the salvation of both my parents as they carried their crosses to paradise. I did not grow up in a Christian home. By the time my parents were 23, they were married with 3 little girls and had lost 3 parents to cancer. Both turned away from God, fleeing from their pain to fun, cigarettes and alcohol. They divorced when I was 8 and remarried and started new families. By the grace of God, I became a Christian when I was in college. I prayed and prayed for my parents and my new siblings to know Jesus. I prayed that they would start doing all the right things, and then everything would be all better for everyone, if only they would stop doing bad things. I knew my parents loved their children, but also loved their addictions. I was just a newlywed when my father died at the age of 48 from a massive heart attack, 2 days after Easter. I had dinner with my dad on that Easter, and he finally asked me about Jesus. I shared the gospel with him and prayed with him. I went home to my new husband, and my father went on to paradise with Jesus. My mother lived for almost 20 more years as pretty much a full-blown alcoholic, problematic in more ways than imaginable, but not for God. I have prayer journals filled with desperate prayers to help me, help her, help my younger siblings. My mother was diagnosed with lung cancer at the age of 63. She was on hospice and wanted to die in her home. I stayed with her often, and she too started softening and asking about Jesus. I prayed with her and she said she was ready to go on with him. Then one day she got scared and couldn't breathe, and she thought she was dying. I said, "Mom, I don't think God's going to let you die in fear. You've been running away from God all of your life in your pain, and I think He wants you to know His love and His depth of being with you in your pain on this side of heaven." She said, "Okay." The morning before she passed on to paradise, I sat with her by her side. She said her hands hurt, and then she said, "I think I know how Jesus must have felt when the nails went through His hands when He died for me." I then knew how close she was to God. As the criminal on the cross reached out to Jesus, Jesus reached back. In many ways, I had deemed my mom a criminal. She had done so many things wrong. That day, as on the day that Jesus took away the sins of the world, He took away my sin of judgment and unforgiveness for my mother, and I am forever grateful. Who in your life would you want to join you in paradise? Never give up praying for them, and know that while you are praying, for whatever time it takes, God is drawing you closer to the power of forgiveness and love.